Hi everyone. After a break, I come up with another topic, vital statistics. This is most important term which we supposed to know. That is, as a healthcare professionals, everybody is supposed to know about vital statistics and what are the measures we use to find or calculate the vital events. The learning outcomes of these particular topics are: after studying this chapter, the students will gain knowledge about basic concepts and methodologies of epidemiology. That is, they can understand what are the basic concepts and methodologies of epidemiology and vital statistics. Second thing, they are able to describe differences between rate and ratio and explain when the use of each is appropriate. And they can understand the concepts of mortality, morbidity, and fertility. Also, it's helped to know how to calculate useful measures from mortality, morbidity, and fertility data. These are the most important vital events, that is, measures of mortality, measures of morbidity, and measures of fertility. Start with the definition. Vital statistics are conventionally numerical records of marriage, birth, sickness, and death by which the health and growth of community may be studied. Otherwise, it is defined as it is a branch of biometry which deals with data and law of human mortality, morbidity, and demography. So these are the main two definitions which describe what is vital statistics. First thing, it is a conventionally numerical record of marriage, birth, sickness, and death by which the health and growth of community can be studied. Or it is defined as the branch of biometry which deals with data and law of human mortality, morbidity, and demography. Then here we see the two important terms which we use in vital statistics, that is rate and ratio. Rate, the term rate usually is reserved to refer to those calculations that involve frequency of the occurrence of some event. The rate is the term which describes frequency of the occurrence of some events, which is expressed in the form of, this is the equation, that is, this is a formula we use to calculate the rate, A by A plus B into K, where A describes frequency with which an event has occurred during some specified period of time, whereas the A plus B denotes the number of persons exposed to the risk of the event during the same period of time. And here K denotes the numbers such as 10, 100, 1000, 10,000 or 1 lakh. The K is the depend on the magnitude of the numerator and denominator. So K is not constant always because it change depends on the magnitude of numerator and denominator. Second one is ratio. So we see what is ratio. Ratio is a fraction of the form, that is, which is calculated by C by D into K. Here also, where K is some base as already defined and both C and D refers to the frequency of occurrence of some event or item. Here the K denotes most frequently used ratios are 1 and 100. Here we can see about what are the vital events. Already I said the vital events are mainly categorized into three. That is measures of mortality, measures of morbidity, and measures of fertility. These are the main three measures that is you calculate the vital events. So first we see about measures of mortality. The measures of mortality, the term mortality denotes that is death rate. Okay. The death rate expresses the relative frequency of occurrence of death within some specified interval of time in a specific population. Okay. The death rate of in a specific interval of time within the specific population. Here, the denominator of the death rate is referred to as the population at risk. Population at risk in the sense the population who are exposed to a particular event. So, the denominator will be the total population who are exposed to the event. And the numerator represents only those deaths that occurred in the population specified by the denominator. When found the calculate the measures of mortality, the denominator is the total population who exposed to the event and the numerator will be the number of deaths occurred in the population specified in denominator because of that event. The first one is the annual crude death rate. So annual crude death rate is defined as total number of deaths during year, that is the calendar year. Calendar year is from January 1st to December 31st. That is divided by total population as of July 1. In the sense, the total mid-year population. Okay. Total mid-year population. And multiply by 1000. Okay. That is in the sense K. K here the K is 1000. And second one is annual specific death rate. Annual specific death rate, which is defined called specific death rate, that is specific death rate which is defined as total number of deaths in a specific subgroup during a year, and the denominator will be total population in the specific subgroup as of July 1. That is already I said that is a mid-year population, and multiply by K. K in the sense here 1000. By this formula, we can predict what is the annual specific death rate of the particular population. And another measure is adjusted or standardized death rate. Adjusted or standardized death rate is defined as that is a single figure that measures the forces of mortality in a population while holding constant one or more of the compositional factors such as age, race, or sex. Such figure is called adjusted death rate. So this adjusted or standardized death rate obtained by what is known as the direct method of adjustment. And here the method consists essentially of applying to a standard population specific rates, that is standard population specific rate observed in the population of interest. Next is the maternal mortality rate. Maternal mortality rate, which can be calculated by death from all puerperal causes during a year, and the denominator is total live birth during the year, and multiply by K. Here the K is taken as 1000 or 1 lakh. The preferred denominator for this rate is the number of women who were pregnant during the year. And the next one is infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate, which is defined as number of deaths under 1 year of age during a year divided by total number of live births during the year and multiply by 1000. That is the K, where the K is taken as 1000. And next measure is the neonatal mortality rate. Neonatal mortality rate, which helps to understand the nature of infant death, rates of ages less than a year are frequently computed. Of these, one most frequently computed, which is neonatal mortality rate, which is defined as number of deaths under 28 days of age. Usually the neonates are after birth till 28 days, they are known as neonates. So number of deaths under 28 days of age during a year divided by total number of live births during the year into K. Here K is 1000. Next is fetal death. Fetal death rate, which is defined as total number of fetal deaths during a year divided by total deliveries during the year and multiply by K, where K is usually taken to be 1000. Also, the fetal death defined as a product of conception that shows no sign of life after complete birth. So, this is a formula used to calculate fetal death rate. And the fetal death ratio. Fetal death ratio is defined as total number of fetal deaths during a year divided by total number of live births during the year into K. Here K is taken as 100 or 1000. Most often in ratio we used to take K as a 100. And perinatal mortality rate. Perinatal mortality rate, that is, since fetal death occurring late in pregnancy and neonatal deaths frequently have the same underlying cause, it has been suggested that the two be combined to obtain what is known as the perinatal mortality rate, which is computed as number of fetal deaths of 28 weeks or more plus infant death under 7 days divided by number of fetal deaths of 28 weeks or more plus number of live births multiplied by K. Here K is 1000. And cause of death ratio. The cause of ratio is defined as number of deaths due to specific disease during a year divided by total number of deaths due to all causes during the year multiplied by K. This index is used to measure the relative importance of given cause of death. To find out the cause of death, this formula can be applied. Then proportional mortality ratio. The proportional mortality ratio, this index has been suggested as a single measure for comparing the overall health condition of different communities, which can be defined as number of deaths in a particular subgroup divided by total number of deaths multiplied by K. Here K is the 1000 or 100, whichever is applicable, where the specified class is usually an age group such as 50 years and over, or cause of death category such as accidents. This is the proportional mortality ratio. And second vital event is measures of morbidity. So the term morbidity refers to the community status with respect to disease. The two rates most frequently used in study of disease in a community are incidence rate and the prevalence rate. That is incidence that is affected with the disease or who are risk for getting or the prevalence rate of the particular disease in the community. The first thing is incidence rate. The incidence rate is defined as total number of new cases of a specific disease, that is total number of new cases of a specific disease during a year divided by total population as of July 1st, that is total mid-year population into K. Here K depends on the magnitude of the numerator. A base of 1000 is used when convenient, but 100 can also be used. Similarly, 10,000 or online can also be used in rare situations. That is based on the numerator as well as the denominator. We use the K here. Second one is the prevalence rate. Prevalence rate, which is referred as a rate. The prevalence rate is really a ratio since it is computed from total number of cases, new or old, existing at a point of time. Then the particular point, what is the number of cases presented, maybe new or the old one, divided by total population at the point of time into K. Next, the case-fatality ratio. Case-fatality ratio, which helps to determine how well the treatment program for a certain disease is succeeding. And it is defined as total number of deaths due to disease, that is total number of deaths due to disease divided by total number of cases due to the disease into 10. That is what the case-fatality ratio. And here also we use the case 100. Next is immaturity ratio. The ratio which is defined as number of live births under 2500 gram during a year divided by total number of live births during the year into K. K is 100. That is immaturity ratio. How many children, how many newborns born prematurely. That is calculated by number of live births under the weight of 2500 grams during a year divided by total number of live births during the year multiplied by K. K here we use 100. Next, secondary attack rate. The rate measures the occurrence of a contagious disease among susceptible persons who have been exposed to a primary case, which is defined as number of additional cases among contacts of a primary case within the maximum incubation period. That is, the numerator is number of additional cases among contacts of a primary case within the maximum incubation period divided by total number of susceptible contacts into K. K here we use 100. That is, this rate is used to measure spread of infection, which is usually applied to closed groups. The third vital event is measures of fertility. The term fertility refers to, as it is, which is used by the American demographers, refers the actual bearing of children as opposed to the capacity to bear children, for which phenomenon the term fertility is used. The following are the 6 basic measures of fertility. First one is crude birth rate. Regarding crude birth rate, this rate is the most widely used of the fertility measures, which is obtained from total number of live births during a year divided by total population as of July 1 That is, I repeat, the total number of live births during a year divided by total population as of July 1. That is mid-year population into K. K here is 1000. The second one is general fertility rate. General fertility rate is defined as number of live births during a year divided by total number of women of childbearing age. That is number of live births during a year divided by total number of women of childbearing age multiplied into K. Here the K is 1000. The normal childbearing age is ages between 15 through 44 or ages 15 through 49. Third one is age specific fertility rate. The rate of childbearing is not uniform throughout childbearing ages. The rate that permit the analysis of fertility rate for shorter maternal age interval is desirable. Hence, the rate used is the age-specific fertility rate, which is defined as number of births to women of a certain age in a year divided by total number of women of the specified age and multiplied into K. Here K is 1000. Next one is the total fertility rate. Total fertility rate, which also that is a age specific fertility rate for all the ages are added and multiplied by the interval into which the ages were grouped, which is for the total fertility rate. I repeat that the total fertility rate means if age specific fertility rate for all ages are added and multiplied by the interval into which the ages were grouped. Next is the cumulative fertility rate. Cumulative fertility rate is that is also computed similarly what we have seen in the total fertility rate here, except the adding process can terminate at the end of any desired age group. And the final is standardized fertility rate. Standardized fertility rate, that is just as the crude death rate, may be standardized or adjusted. So, may we standardize the general fertility rate. So, with this, I complete regarding the vital statistics. That is, vital statistics is the most important event which we use to calculate the incident rate and ratio of health events. And here the events, vital events are mainly three: measures of mortality, measures of morbidity, and measures of fertility. I hope you got understand about vital statistics. You can share this and subscribe the channel for further updates. Thank you.